2, 1.
7 things you probably didn't know you need to know. I'm Jamie East, and this is the Smart 7.
Good morning, everybody. It's Thursday, the 12th of January, and it's Kiss a Ginger Day. And a big happy birthday to Zayn Malik, Mel C, Ella Henderson, and Pixie Lott. It took until Wednesday, but Rishi Sunak finally answered Sunday's big question. That was whether he uses an NHS GP or goes private. Rishi revealed that although he's registered with an NHS GP, he has also gone private in the past. The answer finally emerged during Prime Minister's question time, which was dominated by the state of the NHS and strikes by ambulance staff on Wednesday. And Sir Keir Starmer was not in a mood to let him off the hook.
Mr. Speaker, when I clap nurses, I meant it. His response to the greatest crisis in the history of the NHS is to threaten to sack our nurses.
Firing back in the Commons, Sunak accused Starmer of having his priorities all wrong.
When it comes to the NHS, it's crystal clear. The Conservatives on the side of patients, Labour on the side of their union paymasters.
Amongst all the back and forth, a Conservative MP was suspended over comments about coronavirus vaccines. Andrew Bridgen tweeted that the jab programme was the biggest crime against humanity since the Holocaust. The Prime Minister condemned the remarks, and former Health Secretary Matt Hancock was pretty keen to be outraged too.
The disgusting, anti-Semitic, anti-vax conspiracy theories that have been promulgated online this morning are not only deeply offensive, but anti-scientific and have no place in this House or in our wider society.
Military personnel have been seen driving ambulances as walkouts by 25,000 health workers, including paramedics and call handlers, continued. Welsh Ambulance Trust Chief Executive Jason Killens told Sky News that workers are torn on whether to take action or not.
The choices that our staff are taking are very difficult for them. They are deeply conflicted. The dispute with government clearly arises as a result of one, overpay, but also the workplace experience for our staff.
Secondary school teachers in Scotland also went on strike on Wednesday, and the PCS union announced that around 100,000 public servants will walk out on February the 1st. That includes people like Border Force staff and driving examiners. Meanwhile, union leaders say a solution to the dispute that's disrupted the railways is no closer to being resolved. Among those giving evidence to MPs on the Transport Select Committee was Mick Lynch from the RMT.
And the whole thing has been completely stage managed leading up to Monday's sessions with the trade unions. So it's a deliberate torpedoing of the talks which could have developed.
This year's Golden Globes included a message from the Ukrainian president who said the tide was turning in the ongoing war in his country. He was introduced by actor Sean Penn, who also paid tribute to those struggling in conflict around the world. Volodymyr Zelensky spoke of his people's struggle for freedom, but remained defiant.
There will be no third world war. It is not a trilogy. Ukraine will stop the Russian aggression on our land. We will make it together with a whole free world.
It came as a row broke out over the hotly contested town of Solidar near Bakhmut. Ukrainian sources, including President Zelensky, have refuted claims that Russia's private mercenary Wagner group have taken control of the town. Meanwhile, Vladimir Putin has made another change of leadership, firing the so-called General Armageddon Sergei Surovkin, who was appointed in October and has been responsible for the attacks on Ukrainian infrastructure. The new chief will be Valery Gerasimov, and President Putin was busy reassuring Russians that reinforcements are on the way.
We will increase our defense capabilities. No doubt, we will solve all problems related to providing armed forces and the units involved in the special military operation.
New allegations have been made about Boris Johnson as he faces a parliamentary investigation into whether he misled MPs over the so-called Partygate scandal. They include jokes he reportedly made at a boozy number 10 leaving do during the pandemic, as the former Prime Minister was making a toast around a table filled with alcohol and party snacks. A spokesman has insisted Johnson worked constantly to ensure the government did all it could to save lives and protect livelihoods at the time. In the ITV podcast Partygate: The Inside Story, a source shares this comment overheard at the gathering in 2020.
There were loads of people stood around. But this time I came out because I heard the Prime Minister speaking, and that's when I heard the quote, "This is the most unsocially distanced party in the UK right now." And everyone was laughing about it.
Still to come on the Smart 7, plenty of Carabao Cup quarter-final drama, and Harry gets grilled about his willy, and we're not talking brother. Right after this. Welcome back.
Wednesday night saw the second round of Carabao Cup quarter-finals kick off, with 4 teams competing to join Newcastle and Man U in the final 4. Notts Forest played host to Wolves, while Southampton hosted Man City, who came into last night's game as the only team still in all 4 major competitions this season. Forest and Wolves were level at 1 goal apiece after normal time, so it went to penalties, which Forest won 4-3, putting them in the final 4 for the first time since 1992. There was an even bigger shock in the other game, as Southampton, currently bottom of the Premier League, dumped Man City out with a 2-0 win. Southampton manager Nathan Jones was, of course, delighted.
I'm really proud, really. I'm proud of first and foremost my players. I'm proud of myself, proud of my coaching staff, because we've had to go through a lot, lately. A lot of people questioning certain things, but look, I think that goes a little way to justifying why we're here and what kind of side we're trying to create.
He may be the spare, but in his spare time, Prince Harry's busy fact-checking The Crown. Speaking on The Late Show with Stephen Colbert, the Duke of Sussex admitted to watching the Netflix series. He also denied boasting in his new book Spare about killing 25 Taliban fighters while on tour in Afghanistan. And I don't think anyone expected Harry to ever use the phrase cock cushion. But that's what he did, as talk turned from trauma to Todger and his trip to the North Pole with a certain frostbitten phallus.
At what point did you realise there was a crisis at the South Pole?
Once I got home. The problem was, first of all, it didn't turn into an icicle, right?
Didn't snap off like a graham cracker.
No, exactly. You can't say... Okay. It wasn't like that.
Never?
Well...
The man described as the greatest guitarist of all time, Jeff Beck, has sadly died. He played with the Yardbirds and then the Jeff Beck Group, and famously had his fingers and thumb insured for £7 million. His agent said he contracted bacterial meningitis and died suddenly on Tuesday, aged 78. Tributes flooded in from across the music world from names like Mick Jagger, Rod Stewart, Jimmy Page and Johnny Marr. Here he is performing with Stevie Wonder at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Rest in peace, Jeff.
Jeff, do your thing, son!
This has been The Smart 7. Wherever you're listening, do us a favour and hit the follow button. We'll be back tomorrow at 7 a.m. Have a great day. Written, produced and published by Daft Doris.